We're continuing our focus on developments in Rivers State. Architect Ezekiel Nya-Etok joins us as the national chairman of Young Democratic Party to give his perspective on this. And above all, everybody wants peace in all of this matters. Morning, and thank you for joining us today. Well, let's start off with your perspective. Well, first and foremost, sad news. A core member is dead, and I think the REC also spoke about one person I think has not been accounted for. But looking through this, if your party were involved in these elections, you may have witnessed the same kind of scenario. How do we prevent these kind of things from happening? Tell us.
Thanks so much, Chamberlain, for having me here. The very first thing is that the core member is not just a core member. As important as other members are, the core member is a Nigerian child. And whatever happens to a core member is something we take as a national issue, so as to give the core members that confidence that they are protected by the Nigerian state. So our sympathies for the families and the people that are the direct relations of the core member. But back to the issue that you talked about. I think that we are not paying emphasis enough on the major narratives. It's very sad what's going on. But the time has come when we really have to sit down and holistically look at our electoral processes. It is not enough for you to expect certain miracles from INEC, while I'm not going to hold them or leave them for areas they ought to have worked on. But I think that our expectations of the military or the police and INEC are really not extremely realistic. Why do I say so? The first thing is that our politics has taken on a dimension that we really need to look at again. And we must come back to a level where we bring the political issues to what is almost foolproof. This issue of result sheet, which we should all accept, is too important, and everybody goes for result sheets, and we know about that, and that's not going to help us. If we have come this far with respect to the issue of the card readers, let's take it to a logical conclusion. I've participated in several elections. I've been a governorship aspirant once, and in all the elections I've been a principal player. And the fact remains that result sheet is one area that INEC should never have made any mistake. While on the other hand, I've been a printer myself, though I'm an architect, but for a long time I was a printer. One of the things why you don't just give sensitive printing materials to any printer is because when you call a material a security material, you go to experts that should give you no excuse whatsoever. So what happened in Rivers State? While we would want to put the responsibility on INEC, I think that whoever got the contract of printing such a sensitive material and made any form of mistake, which unfortunately it might have been just one or two or three, but the moment you can pick out one, you can hardly vouch for the integrity of the others. So I understand the intricacies, but the answer is not in all these things that we are doing.
The other question then is, still geared towards how do we ensure the system, as you said, almost foolproof? Many talking about it repeatedly, saying we should take our voting process one step further, beyond just having card readers or PVC. What would you suggest? Okay, well, we'll try and get him back. He can't quite make out what we're saying. And so we're also trying to see how to restore the integrity of the process. But if I that question about electoral officials and the party agents questioning the result sheets that they've seen. Some of them say rightly so too, because if we didn't know, or if INEC didn't know themselves that, look, some of those, there might be Princess Devil in there, and then you see it in the field, you react.
I think, Chamberlain, I think it's very serious, and it would seem as if that seriousness and importance hasn't been attached to this one. If you have any kind of breach or anomaly in the printout, then that should have been sorted out, knowing that you were going into an election and in a state like River State. Yeah, I think we have him back.
Yeah, we do. But the other aspect of this is about the response, the way those official, the party agents responded to it, and because Direct there was trying to explain what could they have done. It was not direct fault of theirs, as he said. But about the party agents, couldn't they have responded in a more, maybe with more decorum, you think?
Yeah, I agree that the response could have been more civilized or much better handled. But the issue is we were in a war situation. We were not just doing normal politics. Let me back up a little bit and let us see exactly where we are. The very first thing is that any man that is above 60 years really does not understand the present Nigeria. This is people that did not have the national anthem, the national flag, they did not have the coat of arms. They were in the Nigeria that were regions, the northern region, the western region, the eastern region. Now, these are people who are growing up and still seeing Nigeria within the context of regions. Now, what has happened in 2015 is that the northern region as a bloc were able to come together, network with the western region to seemingly conquer the southern region. Now, within that context, what is going on now is that the elections in the northern region seem to have been accepted. It was okay. The western region, about the same thing. The war zone seemed to have been on the southern region. As a result of that, there was this issue of like, look, we need to have at least one or two of the Niger Delta states. So it wasn't a question of we have a party that should be sold, but we need to bring to our party one or two of this zone. At that point, this zone now came and said, look, no, we want to remain as a bloc. So it became like a zonal war game. As a result, every single thing became almost militant in nature. So you realize that with such a war situation, everybody is suspicious. That was on one hand. Then you realize that when we went to Delta State went, which was very good. Went to Akwa Ibom State also sailed through, which was very good. The last port of call, which would affect the figures in the Senate and even in the House of Reps, and above all, be able to say we've been able to get one, was the Rivers State. So Rivers State was war. Apart from war, there were two principal characters that pride had to come in. We're talking of the former governor and the present governor. So Rivers State, we were spoiled for war. As a result of that, now the Rivers governor, the incumbent, now realized that there is what we call the federal might that could interfere.
They realized that there was the military that was coming in.
They realized that there was the military that was coming in. So they would look for anything to ensure that you don't create any doubt. And unfortunately, the most sensitive material of all, being the results sheet, they were able to find a loophole there.
All right, let me jump in if you hear me.
Really the best thing to expect to play. It's not justifiable.
Let me bring in this perspective.
We need to come back and ask ourselves certain fundamental
All right, I know, some delay. This other perspective where they suggest that it is owing to lack of maybe internal democracy in some of these political parties, and that's what you see coming to bear with the way they respond to INEC themselves. And many suggest that if they get it right at the political party level, wherein the people who go through the process emerge from the political parties, you may not necessarily see what we see on the fields going on today. Do you subscribe to that view?
I agree with you. It makes a whole lot of sense. 100%. I agree with you. The very first thing is that there is need for a different politics, because the present politics is set in certain ways that will not change anytime soon. I'll give you a very little illustration. There was a time in this country where we said that per seconds billing was not possible, and that the network providers needed to be given 2-3 years to get the technology and all, because they were benefiting from, that drop calls and everything. But one network came up and said, we can do it. And within 2 weeks, all the other networks accepted they could do what they hitherto thought was impossible. Now, for 16 years, all sorts of parties have come in and operated one system, which is what you call the delegates election, where the ticket is in the hands of the national chairman, and they give it to whosoever they want, which is the origin of this word imposition. Now, a new party has come up, the Young Democratic Party, the YDP. We have started by abolishing delegates. We are giving electronic membership card to every member of the party, and we are saying in 18 months maximum, every primary that we do, I as the national chairman will not be able to help even my brother. I don't want. Let's give the power back to the people. And I challenge all other parties to do so. Let them get which is a modified version of option A4. Let them get every member of the party and empower them to vote. When you do that, you send these people back to the people and let them be the ones networking with the people. Let them be the ones that are, as it were, campaigning to the people, offering what they've got to give, and let the people choose them. When you do that, that will be the beginning of what you call internal democracy. YDP, as 2-month-old party, we have already commenced a process. You go online at ydp.ng, you can register online. We are 2 months old.
So I'm just wondering, Mr. Nya-Etok,
16 years old.